What's up, everybody? Siegfried Lane, and today we got a video talking about Acheron. We're going to talk about some hot takes made on her, some bad takes made on her, whether or not you should pull for her, builds she can run. But we're also going to talk about the drama of the early access server that a couple content creators got in. Now that we have actually seen Acheron release and we can compare their videos, we can kind of talk more about that as well. So I'll see you guys in just a second. What's up, everyone? Siegfried Lane. Let's first start talking about Acheron. Now, Acheron is, I want to be honest, an amazing free-to-play character. Free-to-play friendly character. Sorry, free-to-play friendly character. There are so many things you can do with her that makes her really accessible to free-to-play players and with how powerful she is. And I do want to state something, right? This is coming from somebody who has E6 Don Hang and knows how powerful E6 Don Hang can hit. So remember that I know how powerful this guy can hit at E6, okay? Now, before I really go into this, let me just talk about my Acheron. I am not free to play. I will be completely transparent about that. I do have her Light Cone, and I do have her Eidolons to number 2, mostly so that I can run her with more team mixes, right? Now, this is just because I'm more of a min-maxer. If you're a min-maxer, then like every character is going to be not free-to-play friendly. Just to be honest, looking at Don Hang, for Don Hang to be really, really good, you're going to want him at E2 as well. For Jing Lue, you're going to want her at E2 as well, right? Like, E2 is kind of a necessity for these characters for them to be really, really good. So, you know, Acheron's not alone in that, to be honest, of all the powerhouse DPSs. But we are going to talk about her E1 and E2 versus the other characters E1s and E2s and their importance, okay? So I'm just going to clear, my Acheron is not free to play. She does run on a very premium team, but that doesn't mean that she is a pay-to-win character. She is still very free-to-play friendly. So we're going to go and get into that. Sorry about my voice. I've been having some issues lately. I can't pause the stream. Usually I would pause my recording to do this, but I can't. So, let's first of all talk about the whole private server debacle. Now, a lot of people worried about the private server because they thought that would really create an unfair advantage for other guide makers. I'm going to be honest, after the release of Acheron and seeing just how many bad takes were in the videos before Acheron's release, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I want to bring up a couple different people, for example. Now, I want to be very clear on something before I bring up the YouTubers, right? They're bigger than me, first of all. It's a hot take in a game, or bad take in a game, I should say bad take, not hot take. Bad take in a game, on a game character, doesn't really matter. In the end, it's somebody's opinion, and I'm not attacking this person. I have no problem with this person. I'm just calling it out as a bad take, as it is, and stating my own feelings towards it now. So in no way is this this person's a bad person, we should attack them at all, okay? So it's a game, so let's remember that. But with that said, Brax's guide on Acheron was a really bad take in my opinion, because he pretty much stated she's not worth it if you don't have her light cone. The problem with that is that there are multiple light cones that will work for her and work well. For example, let me go ahead and bring up the Nihility ones. I mean, you have this one right here. If you're running it alongside DOT characters, if you're running her along Kafka, this will work just fine. You have this one right here, which is 24 damage, stacks up to 3 times. Now, these ones, I'm going to be honest, 4-star light cones are pretty easy to R5. And 24% 3 times is almost 75%. That's a lot of damage. That's, what, 72%? that's still going to give her a good damage boost. And more importantly, now, this one's a little bit more tricky because it's not out yet, but there is a light cone, which I will talk about at the end of the video, okay? But I won't wait till the end of the video for that one. So, the fact of the matter is, you do not need her signature light cone for her to be good. Now, to be honest, okay, let's be honest here. There are no 5-star light cones that are good for her in the Nihility path that aren't premium, right? Like, this isn't any good for her because you don't need effect hit rate. Anything with effect hit rate is not good for her, okay? And so, welts, silver wolves, and black swans are not good for her. However, you could say that Kafka's is good for her. So if you have Kafka's light cone, it will work on her and give a debuff. As well as giving her the ability to DOT. So, I mean, like, that is an ideal, that is a possibility, right? So, you could, if you have this one, you could run it on her. You get the 24% increased damage, you get the speed boost, and then you get the erode debuff. So then, at this point, she's throwing on 2 different debuffs when she ultimates, okay? So, not bad, in all honesty, not bad. This one is obviously still better, okay? But, when it comes to 4 stars, there are a lot of, there are things that are available here. This one's really good. I mean, this one's good. I mean, anything that gives the debuff is going to be good. So, there are at least 3 different 4-star light cones that will work for her that aren't, are okay. Actually, 5. So, this is the best 4-star. This one, if you want to do massive, more damage around with your basic attacks, works as well. This one as well. And this one as well. Okay? So there are possibilities, right? And these are all free to play. So that's number 1. Teams. If we take a look at our teams, right? If you're going like for a very, like, again, my account's very luxury. I only play 1 account. I don't play those 500 freaking free to play accounts. I do 1. But you have a lot of characters here, and we've been given a lot of free characters, right? You got Saval, who can do lightning damage, a lightning dot. You have Sampo, who has wind dots. You have Pila, who has dots. There's a lot of characters here who can dot. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to be like, well, I can't do any dot I can't debuff. There's a lot of debuffers here. So debuffing is really no problem. And Nihility characters, I mean, again, we have like, the only issue with her is you need 2 Nihility characters. And that's my issue with her, honestly, at E0 and E1, is that you have to have 2 Nihility characters with her. Meaning that you're going to probably be running, if you're a true free-to-play player, Nihility, you're probably running Pela, a dot character, and probably Fire MC, unless you got, you were very careful with your summons, and went for Fu Xuan when Fu Xuan dropped. Fu Xuan, by the way, is a freaking goddess. I love this character. So, there are multiple builds for her that she can run at E0, but she does really need to do Nihilities to hit her best numbers. Luckily, those have been given to us. And so, realistically, you can run her pretty well, pretty easily, to be perfectly honest. She does not require a lot to go up with her. Now, I will go a little bit later into whether you should pull her or not at the end of this video. So now let's start talking about hot takes and the whole, not hot takes, bad takes, and the whole issue with an early access server. So once again, I have no issues with Braxiphone. I mean, he seems like a pretty nice guy, and this is a game in the end. So remember that this is not really me attacking the guy himself. I'm simply talking about the video. I don't think anyone should go after him. I think, the guy's done nothing wrong. Let's just be clear on that. Okay, I want to be very clear. The guy's done nothing wrong, and I'm not attacking him at all. So let's just get on to the video. I think that Brax plays more from a whale status, which I play from a whale status, right? So I'm not judging the guy. I'm a whale in this game, okay? I know it. I have every character in the game so far. I will finally start starting adventuring because I don't care about adventuring. Oh no, I did skip Hua Hua. I skipped Hua Hua, to be fair. So I skipped her too. So I don't have Hua Hua because I skipped her because I'm sorry, I just didn't like her. But with that said, right, I think he's coming more from a pay to win aspect, a whale aspect. And when you come from a whale aspect, it does affect things a bit more on how you're going to take it, right? He's obviously going to be looking at characters in their best teams, I would think. And Acheron in her best team is going to do a lot more damage than Acheron in a different team. So, for example, Acheron, E2 Acheron with her Light Cone, with Silverwolf, is going to just destroy things, okay? Very important to remember. E2 Acheron with Black Swan is going to destroy things. I think Silverwolf is better, personally, because she can give the weakness ability. However, E6, I'm going to be honest, if you have E6 Acheron, you want to run Black Swan, not Silverwolf. Because E6 Acheron no longer needs Silverwolf. So, something to remember there, okay? So, I mean, Acheron she's got a lot of going on for her, and I do think that he was going more from a paid player aspect. Now, this is important because now let's jump over to another content creator, Mtash, who was really worried about his guide issues. And I think the thing that Mtash didn't take into account is that each person's guides are going to be different. And I mean, honestly, I don't want to see 500 videos of the same stupid build. I want to see different people's opinions. I think this will make it harder for guide makers. I think they'll have to think outside the box. Okay, what other teams can we build? And I'm going to be honest. I think that that is really good for the game if the guide makers are up to the challenge. Because the problem with Genshin Impact, for example, is that every guide player throws Bennett on the team. And I'm so sick and tired of seeing guides with, hey, look, throw Bennett. Oh, look, Bennett, Jinshi, and it's the same 3 people with a different DPS. I absolutely hate that in Genshin, that every single guide is the exact same 3 4-star characters from version 1.0 with the new DPS. All right. Doesn't really make the guide all that. And to me, it makes the guides lazy and not all that fun. So I tend to ignore guides in Genshin because of that. Because it's seriously just the same stupid thing over and over and over again. And people just regurgitate that. And it's been bad for the game, in my opinion. A lot of other supports in Genshin have been overlooked because of it. Now, with other guide players having to be like, okay, so Broxophone, for example. Broxophone made this guide. I Win to Lose made this guide. This person made this guide. Okay, what can I do to make my guide stand out? I think that's going to be very good for people to come up with crazy new ideas of how to run things. And remember, crazy new ideas is how we found like easier ways to clear harder difficulties of the Swarm simulated universe that is very hard for free-to-play players. This game is not Genshin. This game is not Honkai Impact 3. This game has a lot of potential for building crazy teams and finding out, holy cow, look how much damage this team does. This is insane. So I think that, personally, I think that the private server is going to put a challenge for guide makers, if they're willing to do it, to come up with their own different renditions of character builds, rotations, and guides. I think it could be good because I'm going to be honest, we're already suffering from Ting Yung syndrome, which is the same as Bennett syndrome. And I'm going to be honest, Ting Yung is not that good. She's not that good. I'm sorry. And I'm going to be honest, especially with Acheron coming in and how Acheron's ultimate works, I'm so glad because it makes Ting Yung even more useless. I hate Ting Yung. I hate her so much because people overhyped her. And so I do think that this is going to be a lot more of a way to create more creative. And if you are a budget player or a free-to-play player, you need to start thinking about which characters are more important to go for. Harmony characters are really good. I'm going to be honest. Like, you really can't go wrong with a Harmony character. Defensive characters, not so much. I don't think Adventurine's really worth going for. He's going to impede certain teams like Blade's team. Adventurine's not going to be good for. Powerhouse DPSs such as Acheron, Jinglue, or Don Hang, 100%. I think that when March 7th comes out, she's going to be a powerhouse defensive character, which is probably going to be pretty good. Robin looks really good. Her actual... I'm not going to lie, dude. Robin looks really good. She'll probably be the next one I go for. Yes, that'll be like 5 Harmony characters I have, but I love my buffers. And if you've ever played a turn-based RPG, your buffers are some of your biggest, most important characters in these games. Like, in the generation of gaming we live in, buffers are the most important. The amount of damage they throw out is insane. Or the amount of damage they allow your main character to throw out. So, I mean, look at Genshin. If you have like, you know, I always forget the Water Archon. I always forget her name. Raiden and Nahida. I mean, they're amazing supports. Like seriously, those support damage they do is crazy good. So, I always go for harmony characters. So I think if you are a free to play player or a budget player, you really should be taking a look at harmony characters, some debuffers. I would say very pick and debuffers. Silver Wolf is not one I would go for personally because the fact that she only does one person buff, good for bosses, not good for mob control. And since a lot of bosses nowadays bring out ads, kind of underplays her. And again, if you end up with an E6 Acheron, which I'm going to get at some point, at that point in time, you don't even need her main usage. You can just use Black Swan. So, I'm not getting E6 Black Acheron right now. I'm getting her in the next rerun. I will save up until she comes back, to be honest. I'm going to be probably skipping everybody until Acheron comes back to get her to E6. And probably get her weapon to R5. So I'll be saving and skipping. But with that said, right? As a free-to-play player, you need to pick a couple powerhouse DPSs. And I would say that Acheron is probably the best one you can pick right now. You need to pick some good support. Sparkle was a really good support. I didn't even like Sparkle, but I'm going to be honest, she's a really good support. Robin is going to be a god-tier support. Like, she just feels... What I've seen looks really good. And so, that's a character that I would probably... I would skip... I'm personally skipping Adventuring to go for Robin. Because Robin looks really good as support, and Sparkle's really good support if you have her light cone. And if I was a free-to-play player, I would probably skip characters until I have enough to get the character and the light cone. At least that's what I would do. I'd go for the character first. If I win the 50-50, I'd then go for the light cone. And then if I lose the light cone, I would just wait on the light cone until I go for the next character I want and get the next character I want. That's what I would suggest doing if you're a free-to-play player. So, honestly, the open servers don't... These servers where people can get early access servers, I don't really think is going to be that bad. I think it could be good for the game and for people, guide makers, having to make different guides instead of just recycling the same stuff, So I'm actually thinking it's good. And MTash's video, if you guys have not seen it yet, I'll try to remember to link it in this one, where he goes over Acheron and Gallagher, I think was really good from a free-to-play status. If you are a free-to-play player, somebody like MTash is going to be a much better guide maker for you than somebody who spends money. Like, I'm going to be honest, I am not a free-to-play player guide maker. I'm not a guide maker in general, but I do sometimes talk about characters. But I never go from a free-to-play status. I'm sorry, because I don't play free-to-play. Since I don't truly play free-to-play, it feels unfair to try and make a guide on free-to-play. But someone like MTash who is playing free-to-play is probably going to be the best bet to go for. So that's what I would suggest, if you're free-to-play, to go look at him. Because he's got some really good points he makes on his videos. So, is the open server going to be bad for content creators? I think if they work hard and they adjust, no. I think it'll be really good, actually. I think this, for example, for MTash, I think this is a great chance for him to stand out as a true free-to-play true free-to-play guide maker who can make free-to-play, who can be somebody that all free-to-play players and low spenders can look at on who should they go for. All right. In this part of the video, though, I want to kind of talk about, should you summon for Acheron? Now, I'm pretty sure that by this chance, the answer is going to be mostly a yes, but there is one question you have to answer first. Do you like Acheron? If you don't like Acheron for some crazy reason, skip her. If you don't like her, skip her. If you don't like her playstyle for some reason, skip her. That is just the way it's going to be. I'm not going to, lie to people. That's, if you just don't like her, skip her. But if you like her, if you're tempted to summon for her, you should summon for her. This is a character I think that people are going to look back in about, a month and a half and wish they had pulled. Don Hang IL had the same issue. People skipped him and then went back and wished they had pulled him because they saw just how much damage he does. And Acheron is that character. She is Donhang IL all over again. People are gonna skip her. They're gonna go into the patch 2.2, and they're gonna be like, dude, I wish I pulled Acheron. Because in 2.2, there's a light cone coming. Now, I don't know how we get the light cone, but I will tell you that the light cone is for Acheron, and it's a 4-star. And I would guess, I'm going to guess here, it's going to be an event free-to-play light cone. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but normally when we see the light cones where they appear, especially, they're free-to-play coming out. And if this is a free-to-play light cone for Acheron, it's going to increase her crit rate by 18%, and her crit damage by 48% if the enemy has a defense down or a speed down. Now, Well does speed down, he does slow, and both Black Swan and Silverwolf do defense down. Silverwolf also does slow. And there's also things you can put on to give that defense down. So this is actually a really easy debuff to inflict to give Acheron that extra 48% crit damage. So remember that. I think people are going to skip Acheron. When that light cone comes out, they're going to be hitting themselves because they're going to realize, oh, had I waited a month and a half, there's a new light cone coming out. And that light cone is going to make free-to-play builds of Acheron more viable. So right now, Good Night and Sleep Well is her best free-to-play option. But there's going to be another one coming, which is going to be better than that. So that's something that people need to remember. And you guys have to remember that. A lot of the times, they'll release a character and then release that special light cone afterwards. So something to look at, okay? But I 100% believe that if you are tempted in the littlest amount, summon for Acheron. Because you're not going to... This is not a character you're going to get and be like, man, shouldn't have gotten her. She is way more powerful than Jinglue. I could see her at E6 being more powerful than Donhang IL. I mean, E6 Donhang IL gave him the penetration. She gets that penetration right off the bat. So, in fact, she gets more at E6. So I definitely see her as being one of the most powerful characters in the game. And at E0, with free-to-play option light cones, she's going to just destroy things still. We're talking 100, 200k damage, okay? And that's outside Simulated Universe. I think in Simulated Universe, you could see her hitting up to 500k. In a free-to-play team. She is going to be two-shotting bosses with her ultimate. So, some things to remember. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Remember to catch me on Twitch when I'm live. Go give, and again, like, I want to shout out to Braxphone. Again, I disagree with his video, but guys, go give him a watch out. Go give him a shout. He seems like a really nice guy. I feel bad for the guy because the guy got super harassed for getting early access to Acheron, which I think was stupid. I think the guy, it's great. He got early access. That's awesome, man. I think it's a great thing for him. I may disagree with this guide, but I really, what do I want to say? Congratulate his success because that's good. And and so go give him, go visit his channel if you haven't seen it yet. He seems like a really chilled guy. Go take a look at Amtash. He's a really chilled guy. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.